You're listening to the Secure Dad Podcast. Discover ways to secure your home, protect your family, and embrace your role as a protector parent. Welcome, friend. I'm Andy Murphy, the creator of The Secure Dad. This podcast serves to help families become proactive in their safety. The information I share on this podcast is for general information purposes only. My goal is to empower you to make safer decisions for yourself and your family. Today is episode number 199 of the Secure Dad Podcast, and we're going to be talking about how to keep yourself safe when you're working after hours. All of that and more ahead on the Secure Dad Podcast. Before we get started today, I want to encourage you to take the Secure Dad 5-Day Challenge. I will walk you through how to make your home safer in just 5 days, and it's all free. Each day of the challenge, I'll email you a short video that you can watch to share with you a tip, an idea, or concept that you're going to need to know to defend your home. So if you start today, Wednesday, when the show is dropped, by Monday night, you'll be much better prepared for home defense than you are right now, especially if you don't know where to start, and I totally get that. You can join at any time when you sign up at the link in today's show notes, or go to thesecuredad.com and click on 5-Day Challenge. Also, don't forget that right now you can get anything at the Secure Dad store for 10% off. Use discount code 6years at checkout to help me celebrate 6 years of the Secure Dad. Today's topic comes from a listener request. Someone wanted to know what I thought were the best things that we could do when we have to work late, when we have to work after hours. What's important to understand is where we work can generally be considered a known environment where we feel comfortable. But depending on the time of day, our comfort level can change, and I'll get into that more later in the show. So here to start us off are some simple, quick tips that we can use to be safer when we're working late. If you know you're going to be working late, set yourself up for success. Park in a well-lit area that is close to the door if you can, if you're permitted to. This way you can have less time in the parking lot coming to and from, and your car will also easily be seen. And if you can coordinate working late with trusted coworkers, I suggest you do it. Working late by yourself is never fun, so drag your work friends into it as well. I'm sure they'll get a kick out of it, but they'll also understand that there's safety in numbers. On the flip side, if there is a person in your office that makes you feel uncomfortable, try to keep your work schedule as private as possible. You don't want that person to stay late and be around you when no one else is there. Also, in the same vein, don't complain about having to work late on social media, because a disgruntled boyfriend or girlfriend could take that opportunity to strike with fewer people around. So keep those cards close to the vest. So now let's take a look at how time affects our environment. A place that we might consider to be perfectly safe during the day may not be safe after dark. The time of day changes environments and how people and animals respond at certain times of the day. I have worked in several offices that didn't have many people around after 5:30 p.m. because everybody left to go home. Given the lack of people and the amount of darkness, even the most hospitable of environments can seem awkward and strange at night. So we first need to recognize and understand that just because we feel safe in that place during the day doesn't mean that it will necessarily be safe after working hours. So don't just assume that because your office parking lot is perfectly fine at noon, that it's also going to be okay at midnight. That's a big difference, right? We need to have these sorts of considerations in mind when we know that we're going to be working after hours. I'll give you an example from my own life. I used to work at a radio station, and my job was to be the local board operator for Atlanta Braves baseball. It was my job to monitor the national broadcast and make sure that our local commercials ran as scheduled in our town. It was actually a really fun job, but one of the downsides was, if the team played on the West Coast, games wouldn't start until really late at night on the East Coast. Our radio station was tucked behind a cheap motel way down the small driveway that was well away from the street. Most people just drove right past it and never knew that it was there. During the day, it was bright and people were coming and going. After sunset, it was a completely different story. The hotel across the way came to life and the parking lot got really dark except for the lone street lamp in the parking lot. It's funny, as I think about it, I can actually hear it buzzing. It was a different kind of buzz. That's not relevant, sorry. On those late nights, I would back into the parking spot right next to the staircase so that after I locked up at the end of the night, I could get to my car quickly, get it started, and go. I did this because I knew that if something went wrong at that parking lot, nobody was going to see it. And that's also why people chose to use that parking lot to come and park their cars for other reasons, and I'll leave that to your imagination. There was actually this one time I went to leave, and there was a truck parked in the parking lot, and the people inside were very offended that I was there. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your moments of intimacy, but I have a job. Now here we can see that my environment changed with time. Now I did have a routine that I would call my dad when the broadcast was over, and I would tell him that I was on my way home. Alerting someone to where you are and when you're going to be leaving is very important. If you have a rough estimate of when you're going to be leaving, you can alert your coworkers, a friend, or family member so they know what's going on. Then when you get home, text that person and let them know that you're there and everything's good. If you want to share your location with someone on your smartphone, then you can do that as well. When it's time to go home, if at all possible, it's a good idea to check on that parking lot before you step outside. This way you can make sure that nobody is obviously waiting for you. Not all threats are going to be obvious, but you can save yourself a lot of trouble by just looking around before you actually leave the building. If your building has security, you can ask one of the guards to walk you to your car, or if someone else happens to be working late, you can coordinate leaving with them. As you make your way to your car, keep your head up, look around, do not be in your phone. As a matter of fact, put your phone away and have your keys in your hand so that you can get into your car quicker. If you carry pepper gel, and I suggest that you do, have that in your other hand as you walk. If the pepper gel is buried at the bottom of your backpack or a purse, it's not going to do you much good. Have it in hand so you can deploy it quickly. If your car has a remote start feature, consider using it as you approach to speed up your departure, and of course, lock your doors as soon as you get inside. If your parking lot is supposed to be empty after work hours and there's a car there, don't immediately assume that it's there to harm you. There's a number of reasons that cars can end up in parking lots, and not all of them are going to be threats, but do keep your eye on them. If the car starts or moves after you walk out, you go right back into that building and you lock the door behind you. And as I wrap up, I'm going to leave you with this. To really make a safer work environment for everyone, monitor your office during the day. Look for busted lights and broken street lamps. Remember that darkness is a thief's best friend. Also look for trash that may be left behind by vagrants. You don't want to walk out into a homeless camp after hours. And of course, report any anomalies in and around your office to security or to the police. The safer an environment you can make for yourself and your coworkers will greatly diminish your chances of being targeted for a crime. Well, that's everything that I have for the Secure Dad podcast for today. Thank you, friend, for being a part of the show. Take the Secure Dad 5-day challenge today. I'll send you an email once a day that shares with you a new way that you can make your home safer. Sign up at the link in today's show notes. I'm Andy Murphy, and until next time, take care and be secure. Hey, thank you for checking out that episode of the Secure Dad podcast. By the way, I'm Andy Murphy. I'm the guy that you were just listening to. If you want to know more about this and other ways to keep your family safe, check out thesecuredad.com.